Yeah, so I'm not, let me see. Yeah, listen to him. Like it. This is literally like, you know how sometimes I say I'm going to do a 5 minute stream, 10 minute stream just to show you something really quick, and then like 3 hours later, people in the group obviously know this. People from Twitter don't know because I only stream for people in the group. But this isn't one of those. Kids have to eat. They need their bath. I really only have like 5 or 10 minutes. For those who came from Twitter, because this is a public stream, who aren't in the private Flux trading group, my wife's almost 9 months pregnant. She can't do everything. I have to help. So I have to get the kids down and everything. And then I'm going to do a live stream for the group. And I'll share some stuff on Twitter as well. I just wanted to show you really, really quick because I only have, like I said, 5 minutes. Give you a really, really, really quick update on what I'm looking at. So for those who aren't familiar with my model, you probably want to look at some of my older videos about my stochastic oscillator model and my Ichima model, my Ichima dynamics. For those who do know my stuff, you'll know what I'm talking about. I don't have time to explain the beginner stuff, obviously. So, I've been tracking the Stoke oscillator and the bigger move, right? So we have the weekly eventually, for those who don't know. We're going to see a huge correction here, and it could be starting now. We may not actually hold here, but I'm thinking the weekly on the top of the cloud, which is right at like, it's held so far at 11,470, maybe slightly lower. If that holds, there's a pretty good chance we can get one more solid push up and get to that 13K target I was looking for. I was hoping, I called this run all the way from the bottom, literally from the bottom. It was at the absolute bottom, underneath 10K, when I got in and said we're going to get a big run up to 12 or 13K. So it's possible we're going to get to 13K still, but we need to hold right around this range, and I'll show you why. So you can see the Stoke oscillator. For those who aren't familiar with how I use the stochastic oscillator, it's a momentum oscillator. If you have the right settings, you can track it well in crypto and identify when there's a big shift in momentum and you're getting that reversal. It's going to be a typically larger trend reversal. So we maxed out here and then we corrected and came down. That was the bottom of the Stoke here, and then we went up, right? Got this big run up. Now we're starting to reverse and come down. Last time we were maxed out, we came down. Last time before that, we were maxed out on the Stoke, we came down. So we're going to see a big correction, maybe all the way back down to 8K. But I'm not worried about setting targets. I'm not telling you where it's going just yet. We are going to see a very large correction in the near future. However, before that actually happens, we may get another few days to go, maybe even potentially a week if we can hold around this area, and I'll show you why. Because if you look on the daily, my daily Stoke model is equally as representative, right? So you can see when we get that bullish reversal and we turn up and get that shift in momentum, again, that's the momentum oscillator. So when the momentum turns up, we're going to go in a nice run up. We ran all the way up. That was really solid. Then we started to come back down and got a little correction, but we never got a big dump back down. So when that happens and you're getting with the Stoke model, when you're getting those ups and downs and it goes up and it just doesn't come down that much, when you're getting the Stoke reversal and you're getting that bearish correction, you'll get a quick dump. And I called this dump. I called a 13% correction flawlessly on that because we were so maxed out. We started to come down. I said we're about to dump. I said we were going to go 15 to 20%. We ended up dumping about 13%. So it was slightly less than I expected. But the model, again, has been very accurate. So I trust it. When my model is that accurate and that precise, and my predictive model is that doing that well at identifying these reversals and these various trends, obviously I'm going to keep it up. So if my model fails and all of my signals are saying, hey, it looks like we're going to go up and we go down, at that point, I'll take a step back, I'll reset, I'll reevaluate, and I'll look for new patterns to analyze. But right now, it's very, very accurate. So for that reason, we're still not out of the woods. We could still just dump from here, but we have a different trend line now that we're working with. If we can stay roughly around 11.4 or above, again, based on the weekly, or on the, well, both the weekly and the daily. So that's the top of the Ichimoku cloud, which is one of my major Ichima dynamic supports right there. So as long as that holds, that's a really strong sign. And we are, again, going to get a really big dump. We're going to get a pretty large correction, potentially as far down as 8K. But before that happens, and there's going to be an even bigger correction after that, but that's a whole nother story. That's based on the monthly model, and that's like a multi-month long correction, which we're not looking at just yet. Based on the daily, we're getting really close. So there's an hour left in this daily candle. If we can hold around this level, I'm telling you, if the next daily candle is green, that's going to correspond to a bullish reversal on the Stoke on the daily model. So as soon as this candle ends, essentially the next 24 hours are critical. If we can bounce right up, great. We might be able to bounce right up. It might take 5, 6, 8, 10 hours before we get a bounce up. But if we can hold around 11.4 or higher and we can bounce up from there, there's a really, really high probability that we could push up to 13K before we get the bigger correction. That's what I wanted to show you. Everybody see that? Now, as for alts, a lot of the alts are similarly resetting. So you'll see very similar. And again, the models that I use aren't always perfect on every chart. But if you can look left, when people say look left, what they're saying is just look on the left side of the chart, see if you can identify a pattern. So in the case of some of these alts, like with Tomo, for instance, when we corrected all the way down and reversed and came up, that was the start of a strong run up. We maxed out, came down for a correction. This was one longer extended run, so that's not a good example. But a lot of these are starting to get some bullish signs with the Stoke bottoming out. Let me see if I can find a nice clean one where you could actually see it. A lot of the alts are starting to get there, though. The lower the Stoke gets, so the Stoke's still really high and hyperextended on quantum, but the lower the stochastic oscillator gets, the better chances there is that we can get a nice bump. If BTC bounces, the alts will move with it. So the key is going to be looking at BTC. If BTC gets what I'm thinking, and we can get that bounce and hold around 11.4 and push up from there, then all the alts will follow it, and we should probably get a nice run. I would say there'll be a bit of a delay. So when I originally called this breakout on BTC, the big run all the way from 9,800, 9,500 to 12K, when I had or it was even lower in the 9K, it was lower in the 9s, it was like 92 or 93. When that happened, the signs that we had that was going to happen were pretty similar, except now we have the larger overall correction that's going to be coming back down, but the same support structures are in place. This is short term. This is just like a multi-day run. So again, bigger correction coming. If we can hold around 11.4 or higher, we can get the push up to 13K that I was hoping for from the beginning. And with the alts, just like what happened when this entire run started, when I first called this big run from the bottom of the 9Ks all the way up, what happened was BTC started to run and the alts were still going down. And then I said, if you guys remember, I posted on Twitter, everybody get ready for the flip. We're going to see BTC correct. And when that happens, all the alts are going to go sky high. That's exactly what happened. That's what we would most likely see again. So if everything goes perfectly, based on my models, this is what we're going to see. We're going to see it hold around 11.4, not go much lower than that, maybe a tiny bit lower, but right around 11.4 will hold. If we can do that into the next daily candle, which is only in an hour, and hold it there for a little while into that candle, if we can get that next candle to stay green, we can push up to 13K over the next week or so. After that happens, we're going to dump pretty damn hard. When that does happen, if we do run up to about 13K with BTC, what I would expect is BTC to initially run up. I don't think the alts are going to follow it. So right now, say this hourly candle ends on Bitcoin, right? Sorry, this daily candle. This daily candle ends on Bitcoin in 53 minutes. Say the next daily candle, it starts pumping, it goes right up to 12.2. I don't think the alts are going to pump with it. I think some of them will, but most of the alts are going to either keep going down or stay at their lower levels, and it's going to take a day or so where you can get that BTC upward action before you see a reversal where you get some of that capital flowing over into the alts. That happens all the time. So we would see a similar situation to when we first started this big run, where BTC starts to run and then it takes a day or two for the alts to catch up. So that was just a basic update on my BTC models longer term that I expect and what I'm looking for. So pay attention to that. As long as nothing crazy happens between now and after I get the kids to bed, I'll be able to look at it with you guys later. Well, not publicly. Screw you, cheapskates. I'll be in it with the private group, with Flux Trading Group, and I will keep you guys updated, and we'll take a look. If we can get that bounce, then there's some potential action. I'll be able to get into some trades. If we don't, if we end up dropping much lower than 11.4, if we get below 11.35 or 11.3, it's going to be unlikely we're going to recover for that final bounce, and this is probably going to terminate the bull run, and we're going to get that bigger correction. So it's a pretty key zone here. It's a pretty important area to hold. But yeah, that's you should keep an eye on. And when I get on later, we'll see if it looks any different. Hopefully by then the next daily candle will start. Maybe we'll get some bullish action and get back up to the high 11s at 11.8, 11.9. Then I'll have a little bit more confidence in that analysis. Okay, sorry for those who just joined. I said I could only do 5 or 10 minutes because I got to deal with the kids and stuff. But I'll do another public stream soon and invite some guys from Twitter because I haven't done that in a while. Everybody in the group, I'll be on tonight. So any questions you have for me, I'll be on in a few hours once the kids go down. In like 2 hours, 2.5 hours. All right, whoever gave me a thumbs down on the stream can go fuck themselves. Have a good night.